Welcome back to EndZone Week 12. We got plenty of postseason matchups on deck. We'll start with Louisville and New Albany. Rematch of the last 3 years, heading up towards another rivalry with Tupelo and Starkville. How will that one pan out in 7A? And of course, we'll go down south for Ridgeland and Grenada, two of the best teams in 6A. Stick around, we've got a great show, and I'm late.
WCBI Sports EndZone Show with Carlo Barone and Avery Cameron is brought to you by Carl Hogan Toyota, Fastnet, powered by Ford County, and Clark Beverage Group.
Welcome into EndZone Week 12. Everyone's in the postseason now, so it's always win or go home from this point. Seasons will end. Plenty of hard work will be coming to a close, but other teams will be, continuing that hard work as they try to make their way to Davis-Wade Stadium. Welcome to EndZone. Obviously, Carlo Barone and Avery Cameron here. Avery, you had our game of the week between Louisville and New Albany. Like I said, a rematch of the last few years. How'd that one pan out?
Well, I don't want to spoil it. We don't like to spoil it. I was excited about it. I thought it was going to be a very high-scoring game, kind of like that Ole Miss Georgia game, every possession, and it turned out that wasn't the way that it went. So, should we get into it?
I think we should. We will start with Louisville and New Albany, our game of the week.
The WCBI EndZone Game of the Week, presented by Carl Hogan Toyota.
All right, this brand new Toyota Tacoma truck. It's a little dark. Sorry, guys. It was a little bit of a haul to Louisville, but this thing was super sweet. My favorite thing every week is kind of listening to the free Sirius XM. So I love that. I appreciate that. Go get yours at Carl Hogan Toyota right down the road. It got me to Louisville hosting the New Albany Bulldogs tonight in our massive game of the week, like Carlos said, the last 2 years. All right, Louisville here. Tristan Edwards finds Trey Trippett on a deep one, and he's in for the first Louisville touchdown of the night. Huge rivalry game for Coach Tyrone Shorter. And we were talking this week, and he told me he knew just what he needed to do. Cody Stubblefield did too, though, at first. New Albany possession, and they're on the board. Shettles, you heard about him this week too. Kylan Knox, also, I told you about him this week too. And the Bulldogs are on the board for 8 points of their own. Louisville on offense now looking to do it again. Our running back, Zayden Jernigan here, won't be the first or the last time you hear his name. And he's in for another touchdown for the Wildcats. The vibes were high, and like I said, I thought it was going to be a super high-scoring game. Back to Louisville. Once that offense started, it never stopped. Handoff to Caleb White. He breaks a tackle, and he's in for another touchdown for the Wildcats. He gets one of his own tonight. Louisville extends the lead 22-8, all within just the first quarter. Now New Albany gets the chance to add some more, but they didn't. And right as the second quarter starts, Louisville takes over, makes another awesome touchdown by Jernigan again. And now at halftime, it was only 36-8, but the final there was 50-22.
And heading out to Tupelo, they're hosting Starkville. It's a big rivalry matchup. It's in the playoffs, even more. Tupelo quarterback Braylon Williams going to start things off for us here. He's going to get sacked by that Yellow Jacket defense. And they will end their drive there. We'll go back in the third quarter now. Starkville on offense, Kingston Johnson. But that pass is broken up at the last second. They've got a quite secondary there at the Golden Wave drive. Later in the game, 4th and 1, Tupelo defense says not so much. The lights are going and the vibes are high because Tupelo is moving on. They had that state championship undefeated last year, slipped up against West Point, but they have not lost since, and the Golden Wave move on as they beat Starkville 28-10 in the final. And looking at some more scores from 7A action, Oxford and Knox Kiffin. They get the big win over Hernando, and they are moving on, and they've got home field, and they will be playing the winner of Horn Lake and Madison Central next week. Lafayette, Cleveland Central moving down here. We've got Lafayette losing to Cleveland Central. Cleveland Central getting the win. The winner of that will get the winner of New Hope in Holmes County. Again, we don't want to spoil anything, but we will have highlights from that game here in just about a minute or two. But the winner will get them, and we'll move on to Ridgeland and Grenada heading down south. Ashton Gordon getting the carry here, and they will be stopped again on the first down here for Ridgeland. Ashton Gordon again. You've probably heard his name once, but now you've heard it twice. What's the third time for you. Ashton Gordon again, you heard the recipe for Ridgeland. The first 2 times didn't work, but this one's going to work great wonders against the defending North Half 6A champions, but they would go down in this one as Ridgeland gets the home victory over Grenada. They win this one 35-28. What a game and what a season for Grenada. It just comes just a little bit short.
And moving right down the road to New Hope as they are hosting Holmes County. Starting early right here, Drew Glenn's going to drop back on a 3rd down, throws to the tight end on the right for the 1st down for the Trojans, and they are just chugging right along. Now New Hope with the ball again. Jacob Jefferson, I've heard his name multiple times this season, gets stopped for and tackled for a loss by Holmes defense. Holmes County forces the punt. Quarterback Martavius Brown scrambles and finds Jaden Tucker for a completion and a 1st down. It looks like he stumbled there. He might have kept going, Carlo. And now for Holmes County again, Martavius Brown's back with the ball, trying to score before halftime, but throws an interception to New Hope and Marion Fisher, and he tries to take it all the way. Final score from New Hope would be Holmes County on top, 36 to New Hope Trojans 28.
And when we come back, we've got more from down south as Lanier hosted Pontotoc in some 5A action. West Point hosting Vicksburg tonight, trying to go back-to-back. In Itawamba hosting Kosciuszko. More playoff action, more highlights coming up on EndZone.
And welcome back to EndZone. We're going to head over to Lanier and Pontotoc. Lanier having its most winning season ever. First time the Bulldogs have ever had 10 wins, period. Starting off tonight, Ashton McKell with the ball. He's going to go straight up the middle, but he's not going to get far past that Pontotoc defense. Now Pontotoc with the ball, attempting for a pass, but it's tackled by Lanier's defense, and it will end up being incomplete. They ended the 3rd quarter 17-0, Pontotoc leading there. Now the final score from Pontotoc, they would win 27-0. Lanier never got anything on the board.
And this next game, we head up to West Point. They will play the winner of that last game. It looks like they'll be playing Pontotoc, so we will find out who wins this one. And starting off right away is Mike Williams, taking that snap after a Vicksburg touchdown. So they're down 7-0 at this point, but Brett Morgan isn't that scared because they have such a good team and they've been, you've seen how they've played this year.
He's never scared.
They score on this play again. We've got a defensive tackle in the game, and he's going to bring it into the end zone. This one's going to be tied up at 7 apiece. And after a Vicksburg punt, West Point looking for more. Williams going to take the snap, and this one's going to be a big gain, and he's not going to be stopped down the right sideline all the way in for a green wave touchdown. Turned on the Jets, and he'll get into the end zone. The home team now up 14-7. Look at this. Coach Freeman gets some time on end zone, hyping up his players. 4th down here in Vicksburg. They throw it short of the line of gain, and Kevion Shelton, is going to get the big hit there and the stop on 4th down. Look at this, the very next play for the Green Wave. Quentin Thompson, they're running back all year, and you can see the way he turns on the Jets like this, down the right sideline again. Their 3rd rushing touchdown of the 2nd quarter has them up 21-7. They go into halftime with that score, and they would be moving on as they look to repeat, and they win their first playoff game of the season. The final, West Point 42, Vicksburg 19.
All right, this is my Super Bowl. I like to talk about Choctaw County and my Chargers and Dylan Mitchell getting a huge win over Kossuth, 49-7. I was listening to that game from the Louisville, cheering on the Chargers all the way away. The winner of this game gets Noxubee County next week, which that'll be interesting and fun.
Yeah, that'll be a rematch of last year's 3A state championship. And look at that, Noxubee County. Guys, they played a few weeks ago. It was a kind of a snooze fest, but they're going to be playing again here. 3A state title game last year, now going to be in the playoffs again. But before the title game, that's going to be a great game, a potential game of the week. We'll have to look at all that, of course, but that'll be a great matchup.
Dylan Mitchell has my vote. All right, fireworks in Fulton tonight. Coach Clint Hoots and the Itawamba Indians hosting the Whippet of Kosciuszko. Starting here, a handoff, and Kosciuszko's defense with a massive stop there. The Whippet fans like what they see early, but a few plays later, Kosciuszko quarterback, he hits him with a screen pass, and he's off to the races for the, wow, look at this, Carlo. Type this, or point. What is this? Top 5, this one, sorry. And he's off to the races, 55-yard touchdown there. Final from Itawamba. Itawamba 14 to Kosciuszko's 40. And that winner will get Corinth and Senatobia. That'll be coming up in a minute.
And looking at another score, Winona getting a kind of a crime here because of two of our area teams in the playoffs, but Winona getting the victory over Belmont 21-8, and they will play the winner of Boonville and Aberdeen, which we will have highlights here in just a minute. And, oh my goodness, okay.
The Lions falling.
Yeah, Hamilton and Charleston. I understand Charleston has a really good team, but I'm a little surprised about this score. But Hamilton's great season comes to an end. They end the season 8-4. But Charleston will now get the winner of East Webster and Myrtle, which let's pull up that score, and they're going to be playing East Webster next week. That's another team, another really good team that went down. Myrtle blanked by East Webster. I mean, nobody scored in East Webster in the last 5 games.
That's what we're up to now.
They haven't a point scored on them since October 9th. Well over a month now. Shout out to Ron Price and East Webster. They're tearing people apart, and they're moving on.
Aren't they the sea urchins?
No, they're the Wolverines, but yes. Moving on to Boonville and Aberdeen, 3A postseason here. Kobe Payne with the pass to Gavin Pargo. First and goal, Bulldogs. Moving to a few plays later, Payne is going to make the Blue Devils feel some pain and get in the end zone on that touchdown. And they will convert for 2, and then it's 8-0 Aberdeen to start this one. Blue Devils trying to answer back now. TJ Nunn is going to throw it to Kason Smith. They're going to get a first down here. They're moving the chains. More from Nunn. Back to pass. Trying to find anyone downfield is not going to find anybody. Going to get some running room. Oh, he's going to throw it into the back of the end zone for the score. The extra point was no good, but the lead would be cut to 8-6. But
look at the Bulldogs.
Let me look at this one. There's plenty more scoring this one. Aberdeen wins a thriller, 58-39. And when we come back, we've got highlights from the defending 1A champs and 2A Baldwin Northside. And then we look over to Nanawoya. They're hosting Lumberton, the battle of North and South. And finally, we'll end with Columbus Christian hosting Tallulah. More playoff action, more highlights coming up on EndZone. Stick around.
And headed over to Baldwin hosting Northside in the 2A playoffs. Second quarter, the Bearcats leading 7-0. Rush Watkins with a deep pass and a catch by Gray Ernest, setting up the Bearcats in good field goal position. Now with Northside for the pass interference there, that's going to set them back pretty far. All those flags are flying everywhere. Baldwin knocking on the door, though. Ethan Johnson gets closer and closer to the goal line. Not all the way, but he's chipping away at it. Then again, he's going to get the ball again, goes in for the touchdown, and with the extra point, Baldwin led 14-0 at the half, and the final there was 20. Northside coming out on top, 32.
The Baldwin Bearcats go down only their second loss of the season. My goodness, what a win for Northside. What a win for Okolona on the road as they're getting the victory at Faulkner. Okolona now at the 500 for the year with this playoff win. They'll get the winner of Biggersville and West Lowndes next week. And Calhoun City doing what Calhoun City does, and that is win, of course. Only one loss in the season. They get their 10th win tonight as they win 53-14 over TCPS. Heading out to Nanawoya, some 1A playoffs as they're hosting Lumberton, 2A playoffs. Early on here for Lumberton, second down. J.S. Adams finds Cordelia Burnett over the middle. He makes a few men miss, and he's got a huge gain, 50 yards on the pass play. He's down to the Nanawoya 25-yard line. First down, road team. Later on, third down. Adams on the QB keeper up the middle, and he's in for the 8-yard touchdown. 2-point conversion, no good though. Panthers with an early 6-0 lead. There, Nanawoya not too happy with that one, but they're back on offense. Caden Massey finds Sanjia Hickman, diving catch, 26 yards on that pass play. They're in Panther territory. More from Massey in the offense, and they're going to get back into the end zone. TJ Henley in the receiving end of that, 21-yard catch and score. PATU good. Nanawoya would go out to a 7-6 lead there, and they would win this one 42-28. And they're moving on. They'll play the winner of Simmons and Stringer. And moving to Columbus Christian, trying to keep their undefeated season going here, but it is not going to work out. It's Tallulah's quarterback picked in the backfield by Amon Hill. He gets a tackle for loss. The Rams would be down a touchdown at this point, though, so they're going to need some more from their offense. Head coach Marcus Davison trying to rally his guys here. More from the offense. Matthew Bench going to pass it to the guy who just made the tackle, Amon Hill. And he's going to get the first down for the Rams here. but unfortunately for Columbus Christian, they would fall in this one, and their undefeated season comes a game short of the state championship as they lose to Tallulah 56-32. What a season, though, for the Columbus Christian Rams. And some Academy scores now. Park Lane Academy, oh my goodness gracious. And Starkville Academy, Park Lane winning that one 26-0 over Starkville Academy. They will play Heritage Academy. I might have just spoiled something here. Well, not really. Maybe 3 seconds here. But Heritage Academy and Park Lane will be matched up next week as Heritage gets a road victory at Magnolia Heights. And these two will be playing for a state championship next weekend. What a game we've got matched up there.
And headed over to Winston Academy, the Patriots hosting North Delta in the semifinals here. Second quarter, North Delta's already down, but the big fella, Hunter Carpenter, gets the ball. He wants to go down. He picks up the first down for the Green Wave, and they are moving right along. Later on here, fourth down, it's Carpenter again, breaks a tackle, and the Patriots defense finally gets a stop there, and it's a turnover on downs. Wow, that was a long stop there. All right, Winston Academy's turn. Jason McMillan finds Bo Boatner, breaks a tackle there, coming down the sidelines. Wow.
Oh, wow.
And he spins, and he's finally inside the 15-yard line after a 61-yard completion. That's a huge play right there for Jason McMillan. Moving on to the fourth down, McMillan's pass. Finds it right here. It's going to be completed. Nope, just kidding. Batted down at the line of scrimmage by Max Hinton. Turnover on downs. Winston led 13-6 at the half. Now the winner gets Oak Hill Academy next week. Sorry.
And Lee Academy and Winona Christian. Winona Christian, an 8-win team here, but they're going to get their third loss of the season as they lose this one to Lee Academy 30-23. And Calhoun, oh my goodness gracious. DeSoto and Calhoun Academy. DeSoto making a very big statement. They're going to score 7 touchdowns. There we go. Or no, 6 touchdowns.
Wow.
My goodness gracious. On live TV, I messed up math. But 42-0 over Calhoun Academy. You get the thing.
This is why he's in sports, everybody.
Academy is going home. Yeah, there's a reason we do this. Moving out to Gordo, our last Alabama team left. They're running out of the tunnel faster than a Santa on Christmas Eve. But we're going to get this one kicked off here. Gordo with the kick, and Colbert County is going to take this one. Oh my goodness gracious, the opening kickoff. He's going to take this one all the way down the left sideline and into the end zone for a Colbert County touchdown. And they're going to lead this one 8-0. But Gordo back on offense. Ryder Robinson going to keep
stiff
it,
arm.
and he's going to stiff arm the guy and throw another guy down. Man, he's a hard runner. He's been on this top 5 for a few weeks now. He plays like that. Now more from McCain to Robertson. He's in the backfield. The Robertsons really dominating the offensive end. They're rushing in for the score. The score would be 8-6 at that point. Gordo attempting the 2-point conversion. Ryder Robinson runs it in. We're all tied up at here. But and then the final in this one is Gordo would win this one 49-21. You know what they say, what goes up must come down. And Chris Chambliss moving on to the playoffs, just like he always was with West Point. Now they're doing it with Gordo.
They say that, huh? What goes up must come down for a 49-29 score? You've heard that before?
Well, I guess so. When Chris Chambliss has won so many state championships on this side, now he's starting to do it over there. So
one must come down.
Absolutely.
I can't get over Santa coming down the chimney or whatever.
I mean, they were running out of that tunnel. You know, it's a lot going on there at Alabama. A lot going on in the high school football playoffs. Let me tell you guys, some scores really surprised me tonight. Some teams going down. What did you see that was probably the most surprising result of the night?
I feel like there was a lot that were surprising to me. I think I was surprised in the New Hope Holmes County score. I know New Hope took the loss there, but I feel like that's a good showing for them. Good showing against Holmes County. The way that the Starkville Tupelo game happened, that's a surprising game, interesting game.
Yeah, Starkville Tupelo usually pretty close, which wasn't necessarily the second half, but at halftime it was.
East Webster Myrtle, the Myrtle score, that's a huge upset. Not upset, but I mean like upset, like sad, but not like upset. You know what I'm saying? You're picking up what I'm putting down? Absolutely.
And that was one that I was going to talk about because Myrtle has had a great season. They moved up a class this year. Didn't really matter at that point. You know, made the playoffs with ease. And then they go to East Webster. I think that says more about East Webster than it does Myrtle, though. Mm-hmm. Shout out Ron Price. Shout out that defense. Like I said, 5 games.
Nobody.
No points. Haven't scored on them since October 9th. couldn't buy a bucket, as they say in basketball.
Yeah.
But another school that I want to talk about is West Point, as they're now 11-0 on the season. They get their win over Vicksburg, and they are our Fastnet play of the night. Yeah, the Green Wave, man, they've been having a great season, ranked number 1 in the state for a reason. And you got plays like this. I like to think about West Point. They've got so many running backs that can do this. They got Thompson.
Dude, the running backs are the difference makers.
Williams. They've got Kingston. Like, they have so many players that it just can ball. And they don't. And Colt Whitaker, their starting passing quarterback, I could want to say with this team, didn't really even. He played tonight, but he didn't really throw that many touchdowns. At least when I was there in the first half. But I mean, the fact that you can't even pass the ball, or you don't necessarily need to pass the ball, and they're beating teams like this that make the postseason, says a lot about the Green Wave. So
yeah,
they're
the Green
definitely
Wave look great.
Team to keep an eye on going ahead in the postseason.
That's a great run right there. That we're gonna put that in the top 5.
Probably so. They've had plenty of those long runs. They're a very easy team to film because they almost run it every single time. But what a win for Green Wave. What a win for Brett Morgan. They've got a lot more football to be played. Won the first state championship when he was a head coach last year for the first time. Trying to make it 2 in a row there, following the footsteps of Chris Chambliss. So we talked about, and Gordo is moving on. Man, they have been a tank this year. Only 1 loss in the schedule, and now they picked up their 10th win. So
it's exciting for all of our Alabama viewers out there.
Yeah.
You got one team to watch.
Our last team left.
Last team standing.
We need Gordo to win because they're
another Green
our
Wave.
last one left. Yeah,
maybe it's something with the waves.
Maybe it's something with the G, the Green Wave. You know, you never know on EndZone, but we've got plenty of good playoff matchups next week, let me tell you. So I'm excited for this next week. Only a few more weeks of EndZone. Actually, next week, I believe, is our last EndZone of the season, which is so sad to say. But
you'll see more of us, though.
Yes, you will. We will be at the state championships, of course, in Starkville, right down the street from where we live. And yes, plenty of playoff games to look forward to next week.
Got some state championships next week.
Yeah.
We can't
forget about our academy schools here. But thanks for joining us in EndZone. We will see you guys one more time this season next week, but we've got plenty of high school coverage throughout the season. We'll see you guys later.
The Fastnet Speed Play, brought to you by Fastnet, powered by 4 County. Fast, affordable internet service from the people you know. WCBI Sports EndZone Show with Carlo Barone and Avery Cameron is brought to you by Carl Hogan Toyota, Fastnet, powered by 4 County, and Clark Beverage Group.